Basically, I don't think I can do a better job than that. That's all sealed up. It shuts. We've got cavity wax running out of every box section. I flooded the inside of the sill with cavity wax and the door. Don't think I can do any better. And the inside of the wing is all done and just going off. So I think I'm going to start unwrapping things and start looking at putting some of the electrics back together and that sort of thing. Two hours to mask up, 5 minutes to take off. Brilliant. Let's clean my hands again because I've got this tar from the shuts all over them. Don't want to leave sticky paw prints all over the place. Actually got one sticky paw print there. Take that off a bit. Bit nicer. Is it the same car, I ask myself. I think we can definitely say from the pool of cavity wax that's up here that that box section is properly filled because it's come right out the top. And I'll show you that. That cavity wax has come from where I injected it in there, so it's definitely got around in there nicely. Yeah, Opal, if you'd have done that in the first place, there'd be thousands of these things still running. That's gone tacky. Won't be long before that goes off. Let's have a quick look at some electrical stuff. This all fits nicely. This will be the best 20 quid I ever spent, this battery tray. I mean, yeah, it's not factory fit, but does that matter? I don't believe it really does in this case. I think what matters is the battery is secure. And everything else... Well, I think what matters is the battery is secure and there isn't a massive heap of rust underneath it. If this solution provides those things, then I'm happy. And as long as that doesn't interfere with the bonnet, which it won't, that's good. Right, now this is one of those moments where I am finally in my comfort zone and I understand what's going on because this is electricity and electricity is my thing. So, down here we've got the coil amongst this jumble of wiring, and this is, by the looks of it, a relatively new coil. Now, there's two different types of ignition system with coil-based ignition systems, and neither of them have connector blocks in them. So we'll be fixing that in a second. But there's two different types. There is a type where there is 12 volts direct to the coil. So battery voltage straight to the coil. And there's a type where there is a ballast resistor in the way. And this car is fitted with the type that has the ballast resistor. Now, if I turn on, the idea of the ballast resistor, incidentally, is that you have a lower voltage goes to the coil in general running, and you have a coil that has less resistance in it, and therefore can work at a lower voltage. And then when you're cranking the starter motor sends full voltage to the coil to give the spark that little bit of extra zip to get the engine going. But normally when you're running, you run at lower voltage. So I've got the ignition on. And if we simply measure the voltage between the two, oh look, 12 volts. That must be a non-ballast resisted coil. Not necessarily. Because that 12 volt measurement there is not when it's under load. And voltage drop needs three components. It needs the resistance of the balanced resistor, needs voltage, and to lower voltage it needs there to be a draw. It needs there to be power. The circuit needs to be under load, is the easiest way to think about it. Now what happens with a coil? If we take the king lead there. Right, so we've got a little bit of a gap there for the spark to jump across. Now if I make the circuit on the coil and then break it, we get a spark. But it's only when that circuit is made that the coil is under load and we get a true voltage reading. So if I put that probe in there, let's get a proper voltage reading. There we are. So I'm simulating the contact breakers opening now. I put the coil under load and you see it goes down to 7.6 volts. 7.7 volts. That shows it's a ballast resisted system. Because when it's put under load, you get a voltage drop and it goes from 12 volts down to 7, which is what we'd expect. Let's put a spark plug on the end of that wire and we'll just see if we can see how tasty the spark is. You're not really supposed to put spark plugs on the end of king leads, but let's take number one plug lead and put it on that. Right, okay, so that is now earthed. Put all my this is where you need 14 hands to do the job. So we've got 12 volts there, put it under load, 7 volts, let go, and we get on there a bit of a spark, but not a great one. Let me show you what the system looks like if we weren't ballast resisted. So let's just plug the coil, hot wire the coil, straight in at 12 volts. So now when I short it out, you see it doesn't go down, it doesn't drop to 7 volts anymore because I'm putting a non-ballast resisted supply up its jacksie and it doesn't go down. So that's what it would look like if it was a non-ballast resisted supply. Net result, I've proved there that coil supplies, when they've got a ballast resistor on them and you put them under load, they drop to about 6 or 7 volts. That shows it's a ballast resisted system. Great, we know that. Just measuring the voltage, not good enough. You need to be able to check it under load. But here's the fun and games. This coil, I've zapped its QR code, is for a non-ballast resisted car. Somebody's put the wrong coil on it. And that could be some of the running problem we're having. This is a coil for a ballast resisted system. So let's fit this and see how that changes the way Roy behaves. I suspect his spark is going to be a little bit more zippy than it used to be.
Nobody likes me. Nobody wants to be my friend.
In the meantime, we'll also sort out some of this nasty wiring. Incidentally, that little electrical lecture there, that's the only time I ever want anybody to listen to me. Because I actually did know what I was talking about then. Everything else, I'm completely winging it. Don't listen to me at all. Also, while I'm at it, I've got new fan belts because the old ones are stretched. I've got new plugs, but I am going to do these jobs one thing at a time, because there's nothing worse than doing multiple jobs all at once and then not being able to work out which one's broken. That coil will just be somebody didn't know and they just measured the voltage without putting it under load, and they thought they got the right one. So we've got a bullet crimp on the end of the speedometer wire there, piece of heat shrink and a larger piece of heat shrink to cover the end of the bullet connector. We'll just shrink those in place. Now these bits of heat shrink are the type that have got adhesive in the middle to make it waterproof, which should help. And then on this end, on this piece of wire that I put here, we just need a spade. And again, we'll put a nice big bit of heat shrink on the end of it. And that can shrink right down. There we are. So that can now go on the negative terminal of the coil. We'll just give that a quick nip up so it's nice and tight. It goes on the negative terminal of the coil, and that connects to the contact breakers. Yep, that works. Of course, the ignition's on. That's giving a very good spark. Yeah, I just got 30,000 volts then. That was lovely. That zips up your morning. And main ignition wires there. Right, that's much better. Okay, so it's running. Still not happy, but it is running happily on that coil. So we haven't made anything any worse. If anything, it is running a bit smoother. Doesn't like starting though. Still doesn't like starting. But that could be a number of things. We don't even know if the timing's right yet. In fact, timing might be the next thing to do. Okay, so while I'm investigating the timing marks, I thought I'd just do the fan belts as well, because I need to look at the pulleys, so you might as well take the fan belts off. I think it's got the wrong belt on it. That's the power steering belt, that's the right one. That's a 6215MC. I agree. Got that from Gates' own parts catalogue. And also the sizes agree with the German workshop manual, which a very helpful guy in Hanover has put online. Senator-Monza.de. You have to translate the site from German, unless you speak German. But it's absolute treasure trove. The belt is 888 millimeters long, a 6264, and this was a 6216. I don't know what that means in practice, but yes, longer. It's a longer belt. No wonder the alternator was at its furthest length. It was right out as far as it would go to get the belt tight. And I think the alternator was actually banging on the chassis, which could have been some of that knocking I was hearing. He says, hoping that the simplest answer is the actual one. So let's just see where the alternator sits with this belt on it. I tell you what, it's an absolute joy to work on a vehicle that's got space in the engine bay. You know, where you don't have to take 47 things off just to find enough space to get your hand in there and then take off 47 other things in order to try and do the job you want to do. Yeah, that's very, very tight in comparison. There were different belts on this car depending on whether it had air conditioning or not. Not that many of them ever did have air conditioning. That's looking much more like it. Come on you go. Basically, I've interrupted the ignition work I was doing to get this wing on, to get it out the way. And then I'm just going to whip the plugs out to make it easy to turn the engine over so I can try and find the timing marks, and then I can set the timing and do the plugs at the same time. The alternator fan belt, definitely the wrong belt. The alternator was, with the old belt, it was leaning over till it touched the side chassis rail. Now, with the correct belt, it's about 3/4 of an inch away from the side chassis rail, so that's good. That's an improvement. We like improvements. Once again, like the last wing, this one is bent where its top has rolled over, but the other one easily went back into shape. I learnt when I did the other one not to fix the bottom first, but to get the top shut working because of that bend. Back in the right place. Bonnet needs to come up a touch. I'm taking that every day of the week. Right, that's kind of had the works now. So, new set of plugs, all gapped. The previous ones, if you remember, I did clean them when I first got the car, but they are well fouled. And that is just pointing again at that carb over fueling. I've set the timing, so I've set the timing by the static method. So line the marks up, turn the distributor until the coil fires. We've got the right coil on it now. So basically, I put a new set of contact breakers in it and a new condenser, and that's gapped. So basically it's had a new ignition system, apart from HT leads, which look fine. So let's see if it starts and how it runs. It's the best it's ever run. It's idling properly. It's accelerating properly. It's firing on all cylinders. It's never run that well.